Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Congratulations to the 47th President of the United States, Dr. Cornel West. I'm here with my guest, but before I let her introduce herself, like this video, please. Like it and reshare it. Resharing is very important because we got a lot of views last week on an old video, which I appreciate everybody sharing it. So let's keep that going. Let's continue to share this video out on our social media platforms. If you have Facebook, I don't know if you can share it on Instagram, but I know Facebook and, well, I'm not going to call it X, Twitter, you can definitely do it. So before, again, I let my guest introduce herself, we're going to get some bills paid here. First of all, visit the website at cornelwest2024.com. That is where you can learn about the platform. That's where you can donate. That is where you can volunteer. Also, mark your calendars because Hoosiers for Cornel West is sponsoring a virtual comedy showcase that is going to be, I don't know why I didn't put the date, but it's June 18th, 2024 at 7 p.m. There is the link. And you may now introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Nzinga Dalila. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. I am a mental health therapist and instructor, and I started a group called Black People for the Natural World. It's a Afro-environmentalist organization. And that's me.
Okay, so I don't know if you've watched this show, but to explain to you and anybody here who is new, the way this show works, it is very simple. I take and I'm going to keep saying stupid. I know people like to say, well, don't say that. Yeah, I'm going to say it because these are the 5 stupidest, silliest, dumbest arguments against Dr. West being a candidate and being a candidate for president of the United States. So I'll bring up the issue. You can talk about, hopefully you don't agree with any of them, but you'll talk about, why is this just such outrageous? I'm always good to add my opinion. Sometimes I go on rants, but I'm gonna try my best to behave. And before I get to my first one, Nelson is in the house. Well, all right. How are you, Tracy? Tracy is doing fantastic now. But it's been a kind of a rough day, but I'm doing much better. So, the first silliest thing, I know you've heard it. If you're out petitioning for, no, let me backtrack. Before we start that, talk about why it is that you support Dr. West.
Well, I've followed him for years. I admire him so much. He is, I guess you would call him a Renaissance man, a genius, a philosopher, educator, a musician, really, really dedicated Christian. What I mean by that is some people say they're a Christian, but he really walks the walk, and I appreciate that. He's spent all of his adult life championing causes, especially for Black folks, as well as all people all over the world, and he's a person of integrity.
Now, second question. How shocked were you when he announced his run for presidency? that took me like I was like, what did he just say?
Well, I mean, it was a wonderful surprise. It was wonderful, you
So
know.
I wasn't the only one
Yeah.
shocked. I wasn't like, oh, okay, because I was
Well,
like, what?
yeah,
Because he said, if you remember, he said, I'd rather live in the crack house than the White House. That's one of
right,
the things he was saying. I'm like, but he's running to what? I mean, trust me, I was glad I was in on day one, but still
right,
shocked.
right. Well, it was a shock, but a pleasant shock. I think, obviously, the kind of man he is, if he made this decision, he knew that he had to do it. It was something that he felt called to do for humanity and all life on this planet. And it's a big, big step, a big commitment. But if there's anyone who can hold this big responsibility, it would be Dr. West.
Uh, okay, so now we're on to our first one. This is the number one. If another Democrat gets up in my face and says this one more time, I promise I'm gonna scream. I've heard it petitioning. I've heard it every time I say I'm gonna support Dr. West. So here it is. A vote for Dr. West is a vote for Donald Trump.
Okay. I mean, I know people say that a lot, um, but Donald Trump, Joe Biden, I mean, both of them are I mean, they're horrible. They're horrible. They destroy the planet. They don't care about human beings. They they're they're only puppets, serving themselves and, you know, the 1%, the elite, of the world. And why would anyone be concerned about either of them? If you care about your own life, if you care about your children, if you care about the planet, um, if you want peace and freedom for people, if you want clean air and water and justice, uh, why would you even be concerned about either of those people?
Oh, can I answer? Can I answer? Can I answer? I have literally had people say this argument, and it goes on the one that I just named. They would rather, they know Biden is not for any of their issues. Like, okay, you're going to vote for somebody that's not for your issues, make it make sense. But okay, so they know Biden is not for any of their issues, but they would rather do this whole work with Biden because they think they can get something. Like, they think they have a better chance working with Biden as president than with Trump. And I'm like, no, they're both terrible. Like, they're both trash. What are we talking about?
Right. I believe in keeping things simple, and we all know that two wrongs don't make a right. So there's there has been nothing positive that has come out of the duopoly. And it's just totally inhuman. And I don't like to use the word evil lightly, but when you have dedicated your life to destroying everything, I just don't know what other words you could use.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in what way would either one of them winning the presidency benefit us in any way? Not in any way. I mean, we're all like, to some degree or another, just enslaved by this system. And not only, humans, but all life, and we depend on all life. So basically, it's evil. So why would you be even concerned about that? If you're
But
going
it's
to do
still,
anything,
yeah,
if you have any breath, if you have any breath in your body to do anything,
right.
do something you believe in.
How do you not call something evil when you, and people say, oh, you, here's another thing I'm like, yeah, see, I told you, I go on rants, just, this is what I do. When you bring up something, it's a legitimate concern about Biden, i.e., going around Congress 3 times to give Israel more money to bomb Palestinians. They'll bring up something Trump did, and I'm like, but Trump's not the see. Biden is the president now, right?
Right.
So if Trump did exactly the same thing, I'm going to make exactly the same criticism. I have, I mean, don't stop telling me what he's lesser than. Well, you're never going to convince me to vote for Biden. There's no way, no how. But instead of, well, he's less evil. Well, I'm glad you know he's evil. I'm glad you acknowledge that he's
Right.
evil, so we can at least have a conversation.
Right. Tell the children in Palestine that he's the lesser of two evils or something. Tell the people, who are suffering and starving in in this country. Tell the people living, with no food and water, or with poisoned food and water in this country. Tell the people who are starving, that, at least it's better than Trump or something. Tell them that it's okay. I mean, you know, we as a mental health professional, I'm very very much aware of how people live in denial, and I work with that all the time, and I understand what it is to just really say some. If you say something over and over and over again, you start to believe it. But that's why I said keep it simple. Open your eyes, look around. Is there anything that 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 this duopoly would is worth saving? Is there?
Yeah, and my whole okay, so rant number two. I'm really trying to work on these, but please don't bring up Project 25 to me. This is a warning because I personally think it's a scare tactic. That's what I think. I don't care what everybody. If I hear one more reporter talking about we may not be here if Trump gets elected, is it gonna really hurt me that MSNBC goes away? I mean, is it gonna really hurt me? He'll get in and he'll never. We are going to have an election in 2028. I don't know how else I can say it. Like Trump is evil. He is terrible. Get it got good. But him getting reelected, I can't believe people are believing things like you have reporters talking about um they'll get fight there won't there will be no more freedom of the press. That'll just go away. Um if he dislikes something on YouTube, he's gonna take it down. I'm like, you realize how much work that is? You realize how many billions of videos go out every day on YouTube?
Right.
It's just like make it make sense.
Right. Again, I feel like we're so we you know you've heard about how you can boil a frog by slowly turning up the heat, so they're not aware of it. They're not aware that they're dying, because you just gradually, turning up the heat. And unfortunately, I think we become so, you know comfortable and accepting of every injustice, every a cut by death by a thousand cuts, so to speak. We just keep getting so comfortable, and so that we say, well, if someone throws up some horror story, they're like, well, then I guess I'll try to avoid that. But we're living right now, today, with so much injustice, but we just become accustomed to it, like the heat's just gradually being turned up, so that we just kind of become accustomed to it. But when we really and I understand it can be overwhelming, it can feel emotionally overwhelming and um shocking to really take in everything that's happening on this planet. But you know we're we're losing you know so much life every day, and what we benefit from, the benefits that we do have, are dependent on the rest of the life on this planet. So and I mean, and Biden, for example, he's always talking about a commitment to 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 green plan, but he's constantly constantly drilling. He's constantly taking people's land. He's constantly supporting um you know well, he supports genocide, and yet at the same time, when he's saying there should be a ceasefire, he continues to send money to Israel for arms. I mean, it's just, he's talking. What do they call it? Talking out the side of your neck, you know?
But I call it talking out. It's like either they think, I call it talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Right, right, right,
Um, Either one, they think we are really stupid and gonna buy that. Like
right.
who's like, if people up, like if you listen to Biden, I know I'm asking you to do something even I don't like to do, because personally when I see him on TV, I turn the channel.
Yeah,
But listen to what he says. You pointed it out. I'm so glad you pointed it out. He's talking about ceasefire. He never says anything about ending the occupation. And
right,
for me, both of those go together. I don't want to hear anything about ending the ceasefire if you're not talking about ending the occupation. But he's
right.
not even said that. He says it like uh, example. I won't send, if they go to Rafah. I'm not going to send weapons. 3 days later, bum 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 bum. I mean,
Right, right.
it's right there. It's like literally right there for the American people to see. But they're gonna go. Somebody's gonna vote for these two.
Well, it's all about the elite protecting their interests. And he's just he doesn't have actually make any decisions. We all know that. We all know that the president doesn't really make any decisions. They're just puppets. They're mouthpieces,
But
for
Dr. West won't.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's
yeah,
the reason. Thank you for saying that.
yeah.
That's
Because I was like, no, because this show's not called
right,
47 President for no reason. Because
right.
you act like, yeah, I didn't call it. Yeah, he might. But I just
He,
wanted to get
he's
that.
he's but thank you. He's the only person that I really believe. I believe in his integrity. I believe, and he comes from a place of true self-sacrifice and belief and commitment, and is willing to um you know suffer the slings and arrows of I mean, he has a record of fighting for justice at his own risk, at harm to himself. I mean, and you look at the history of, I mean, Trump's a narcissist, I mean, he's just living with a, silver spoon in his mouth, and Biden, is his whole history is lying, his whole history. And I don't say that
His
lightly.
whole The man dropped out of the presidential run twice. Why? Because they found out he plagiarized
Right,
twice. Let you or
right.
me plagiarize in college. We're not getting back into that same college. But see, I'm not here to point out that. I'm not going to say anything about that. Okay, number two. Number two, it kind of goes with number. No, it doesn't. Um, which one do I want to say is number two? Number two, got it. We got a fire truck running by here. I live across the street from a fire station, everybody. So it happens like this. And it always happens when I do a podcast. Dr. West is not serious about his presidential run.
Oh, well, that's interesting. You know, again, I know I'm gonna sound like I'm just kind of repeating myself, but he's he's I don't believe that he is makes him stand out from everyone else is that it's not just about holding an office. It's about continuing his own life's work of commitment and leadership and fighting and championing the rights of people. That is what a president is supposed to do, not be a puppet, not be a mouthpiece for others to, um, you know, uh, self-aggrandizement and, and put himself in a position to, have some, house in Martha's Vineyard and or whatever in a museum. And write books. That's not who. I mean, he's an author, but doing this, going through all of this, doing this, making this commitment, putting his life on the line, because that's what happens when you do this work, and making, and fighting for us, for the real working people, people who, that's not that's not something you do lightly. And I've never I've been on this planet for a while, and I haven't seen anyone fight the way he's fighting. I really haven't. Um, I'm just so extremely grateful for the service that he's given us all of his life, and his putting himself out here to do what he's doing now. He didn't have to. I mean,
Hmm.
he's not like some lifelong politician or something, or like he's trying to, you know, make his, get something. He was Dr. Cornel West. He didn't have to do anything. He could have just sat on his laurels and, and just been, you know, received, accolades and everything from what he does. He could go anywhere on this planet and talk to anyone and do anything, but he stopped to run in this campaign for us. I mean, I'm just, and all of the work that takes to do this, I'm in awe.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't do it. Because Dr. West has something that I don't. I've always said it, everybody knows who's watched his show. I have serious problems with my mouth. And some of the criticisms that Dr. West has been, the fact that he takes it with grace and then answers it with grace. I don't have that. I try,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, you're not gonna do that to me, because I'll just sprout up. I'm sure he wants to, and he has the higher moral ground answer because I'm not there yet. But God, He know my heart. Anyway, um, when somebody says he's not serious because our weekly troll he's missing, we have a troll that comes in here and always says Dr. West is not serious. Never says what serious is. Never says what steps it takes to get to serious. Never says, well, I work in the campaign. I'm a volunteer. The campaign could do this or this. I think that some of the campaign, and let me say it before I say it this way. There's no such thing as a perfect candidate. Don't think it. Don't even let it cross your mind because even Dr. West has said he has frailties.
Right, he's not, he's a human.
He's a human. So don't think, oh well, he's the perfect candidate. He's head and shoulders above anything that we have. Anything.
Right.
However, when you say, well, he's not serious, what I just want to know, what do they mean? What do they mean when they say he's not serious?
That's
He's
a really
been,
good point.
yeah, he's been an activist for, I'm not going to tell how old I am, but the majority of my life.
Right, right.
He's been consistently saying the same
The
things he
same
said
thing.
from when I was a child with single digits in my age to now.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. He's always been consistent. And as I said, when you talked about, how you want to get in your emotions and maybe say something that you might
Oh no,
regret.
I don't want to.
Well,
I already go
well,
there. I just go. I'm like, nope.
well, I mean, the thing is it, and I know I might not be answering your direct question, but I just want to take this opportunity to really talk about how really in awe I am of him as a person. And that's something that he, like I said, he, with everything, his serious commitment, lifelong commitment to the struggle for human justice, for the justice of this healing of this planet, the way he does it is just amazing. And it just takes, there are people who are like super intellectual, and the way they talk, you can't even understand what they're saying. You're like, well, I guess he's smart. He's using a lot of big words, I guess. I don't, I guess I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know what it means, but he's really smart. I mean, but he's not like that. He's a genius, but he has demonstrated this commit. He has taken who he is, what he's learned, what he can do, and directed it all his life towards a commitment to humanity and to the planet. And that is an amazing human being. And now he has, as I said, and you talk about being serious, he has taken all of that. Not only did he could have just kind of went on some, speaking engagements and written some more books, but he is sacrificing himself to be the leader of our country. And that's a oh, he's that serious. I mean, that he's just demonstrating, continuing to demonstrate what he has done, a combination, because the way, only somebody who has that like undying faith, deep faith, knowledge of history, and a history that you actually live, not just something that you can quote from books, although he can do that. And he can talk to anybody. I mean, and that's the thing. He really represents all the people. I've seen, there's people who you're like, oh, well, they would, appeal to this group of people, or they would appeal to women, or they would appeal to, whatever. But he is truly every man. He can talk to anybody. He can talk about Latin, and and Greek philosophers and poets and rappers, and you know and clergymen and rabbis, and and economics. And that's, I mean, it's, if we don't all get behind this man, I don't know what to tell you. If you think that anybody else right now running is a better person who could lead us than Cornel West, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. You must be waiting for somebody to come out of the sky, the clouds to part, and like you said, some perfect human being. But he's the person that we need to, each of us, each of us needs to try every day to make decisions that represent our highest self, the highest good. And I just don't know why anyone would support anybody else. If you're trying today to be the best person you can be, and by living a life that makes the best decisions, why would you choose somebody who you know is evil? Why would you do that? I don't understand.
I still can't understand. You got two presidential candidates, Lord forgive me, that can't put a sentence together. Like a whole complete sentence. If you
Right.
if it wasn't for them showing up at the debates, I would think they're exactly the same person. They're both racist. They've both been accused of sexual assault. They both are for wars. They both are for taxes for rich. I'm like, wait a minute. Am I
Right.
looking at the same? But then I realized these people play enemies on TV. They are not different. I know
Right.
people say, well, the Republicans, they go this far with September 6th, January the 6th. No, that's the fringe. That's the fringe. I'm talking about every congressperson is exactly the same.
Right.
Not only do we need Dr. West in the White House, we need to send some people who have those same beliefs as his platform,
Right.
right? Because he gets there, it's good. First of all, the duopoly is not going to take a law sitting down. It's going to be lawsuits. It's going to be, well, what happened? No. I'm like, well, I can tell you what happened. It's going to be recounts and recounts and recounts and recounts. That's why they make it so hard for us to get on the ballot in the first place.
Right.
Um, but before I proceed to the next ones, I'm going to go to comments here in a second. Put your comments in the comments section so I can read them off. And of course, if you always watch this later, um, you can always comment later. Um, and I wish our troll was here, but he's not here today. Because he's here like every week. I'm like, okay, you just gonna come, right? Okay, fine. So again, visit cornelwest2024.com. You can learn about Dr. West. You can learn about Dr. Abdullah. You can learn about the platform, which again, I say that's the best platform of any political candidate I have ever seen. No doubt about it. You can volunteer, and of course, you can donate. Speaking of donating, Hoosiers for Cornel West are sponsoring a virtual comedy show June the 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to get your ticket because, again, all money goes to ballot access. Okay, so now for the comments. Let's see. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Tracy and guests. That shot gave me some hope that the world would have some peace instead of all these wars. He's talking about when I said, were you shocked when Dr. West announced?
Right.
Kevin also says, okay, Dr. West is very serious. It's just that he really needs all of the support we can give him at this time in order to stay in the race. We need him to get this mess straightened out. Absolutely. Nelson says Cornel West is more serious than that backstabbing Bernie Sanders. I see Nelson, you like me don't have problems saying what you think. He's in it all the way to end, and he's not selling or downgrading his policies for people or for anyone or anything. I agree. So this one goes to our next one. I say they all make me mad, and I'm just like, admit you have a terrible candidate. Admit you have a terrible candidate. We don't, you do. You can vote for Dr. West. Nobody has to know that you're going to vote for. See, I said I was going to limit my rants. Limit them. Okay, so we're moving to the next one. Now is not the time for Dr. West to run for president.
Really? Wow, interesting. When would be the time?
Oh, thank you for saying
I'm
that.
like, what?
You haven't heard this one? Oh, CNN, DNC is good at this one. They had, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
The thing is that the 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 elite, the real puppet masters, they like to keep us in a state of crisis. They like to keep us feeling frightened and so in so much distress that we can't think straight. Um, and so they like to so always always and I don't usually like say like if I'm saying always, it is always. There's no exception when 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 the media will try to say things are so bad right now. You just can't. This isn't the time to do something to do something that make a decision that's based on your conscience. This isn't
Yeah.
the time right now.
Yeah, screw that critical
You,
thinking. Kick it
yeah,
out the window.
we can't
Don't
we
be
can't
logical.
right, because if you vote for the other person, or if you give the other person a chance, then we're doomed. But that it's always that's always what people do to try to get you to not think clearly. When again, when you keep people in a state of fear. I mean, look at the news. I mean, look at the news cycle. Everything's always, you never hear about wonderful things that happen because the media is designed to keep you in a state of panic and fear so that you don't think clearly. When you're in a state of panic, what happens is that I'm sticking to the back because the part of our brain that deals with survival is activated, and we go into fight, flight, or freeze. And we don't and when we're in fight, flight, or freeze mode, we're not using our frontal lobe, which is where we think, which is higher learning and thinking. So if they can keep us in a state of fear and panic and make you believe that doing the right thing will end up in disaster, then it'll make you just stop. And you won't, you just, what can I do? What do I have to do? Vote for this guy. It's like, that's not. Now, when I talk about, the state of our planet and the injustices that people are suffering, those are real things that we need to be concerned about, but we need to fight. We need to get up. We need to move. We need to vote with our heart and our conscience, because that's who we are, not out of fear. And that's what they try to do when they try to say this is not the right time, because there's so many horrible things going on, and it's going to be even worse if you don't vote the way we want you to vote. Well, I'm saying things are pretty bad right now, and they always are until we vote our conscience and we vote for a president with integrity, who loves God, who loves people, who loves the planet, who is a genius, who has that incredible balance of intellect and heart, and is not going to bow down to to the elite, to be manipulated. um Someone that you can believe in, that's a leader. And you don't that's what we need to do. If you're panicked or think that I gotta make the right choice, the thing that to do something to save us, then you gotta stop doing the same thing that you've been doing. And that's what and voting in this duopoly is the same thing that we've been doing. It if you do that, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results, and it, we know that, you know, but we gotta continue, if you believe in freedom, you gotta keep going.
Yep. Such an articulate answer. And I always say this about my guests. They always give the most articulate answer. Here's mine. You his daddy now? Like he's got to ask you his permission. He's got to get your permission to run for office. Last time I checked, Dr. West was a grown, behind man. He doesn't need your permission. He doesn't need your approval. He can just run. Why can he run? Because one, he's 35 years old at least. I know he's older than 35, but he meets the minimum. He's lived in the United States for 14 years. He was also born in the United States. You deciding what time is what time, you can miss me with that. It's never going to be the time because you'll always use fear to scare people. You'll
Right.
always use it. It's never going to be the right time. How many years has the Democratic Party pulled this? They did it. If Trump wasn't going to be um, the nominee, I could almost hear them saying, "Well, with a threat like Chris Christie, we can't have that." Everybody that's opposed to the Democrats, it's always a threat. Has anybody ever asked why do they stand by and watch it?
Right. It's I feel like we don't really believe that we can be free. I mean,
Or
I think people should just get real and just say, you really don't believe you can be free. You don't believe you deserve to be free. You don't believe it's possible to be free. You just don't. And so
and
you choose slavery. Is that what you're saying? You just
I don't
choose
want to
it?
go to the Kanye route and saying slavery was a choice. However, I get where you're going because we know when I talk to people about voting for Dr. West, they will literally say, "Oh, I agree with all his ideas, but I
But
can't vote for him because of." If you
right,
agree with this, I just stop right there. You
right.
agree with his ideas. Do you agree with Joe Biden? Because I don't run with a lot of Republicans. I just don't. Do you agree that Joe Biden isn't doing anything for you? And yes, I'm talking to, I forgot to say this. You're my first African American female guest.
Really?
Yes. Oh boy, I forgot that because
Right. I wanted to say, I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to say that um really I've of course, if I've looked at Dr. West, I have also looked at other candidates, and there are a lot of well-meaning people, but honestly, from one black folk to another black folk, and to any other black folk that are watching, or anybody who's even thinking about it, he's the only candidate that I really believe has our interests at heart.
and he's willing to talk to people that he knows don't like him.
Right.
You have a narcissistic, because they both narcissists. You have one
Right.
narcissist, Trump, pledges to use the DOJ um, to go after people who criticize him, which I'm going to say arrest me right now because that's pretty much where I'm going to. As long as you give me my insulin, I'm cool. And then you have other narcissist that says if you criticize Israel, you're anti-Semitic. Huh? What? Like, I'm going to go back to my original point. They're the same person. I'm not even going to start calling them different because I'm like, nah, this is the same person. We live in some type of universal world where one, he's 80, 82, 82. However old, he's older than me. I'll put it that
Right.
way. They both older than me.
Well,
But
but I just really want to say, though, that, again, I really, I mean, people talk a good talk. Some people will say that, they'll quote Malcolm X. You know who I'm talking about. They'll
you
they'll
can't be
quote.
talking. No, you can't talk about him. Now, when you talk, now when
No,
you,
no, no, no. Wait, let me finish what I'm saying. Some people will talk some good talk.
yeah, I know who you talking about. I'm like,
They'll quote Malcolm. They'll talk about,
Dr. King is their favorite one. Oh, they'll
right.
go Dr. King in a minute.
They'll do a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm talking about people who are running right now. And,
Oh, okay.
but honestly, you know, we know when somebody really has our back. We really do. We as black folks, and and I know I'm just, maybe say she can't speak for all black people, and no, I'm not speaking for people who are, you know unconscious, but I will say that real folk know when somebody's being real. And some people talk a good talk. I'm talking about other people who are running right now. Talk a good talk. Talk a good talk. And but you can feel it. You can feel when somebody's real. You can feel when somebody's real. And he is constantly, Dr. West has constantly been committed to black folks. Constantly, no, unequivocally committed to black folks. I'm not saying he loves everybody, but we always have to take a back seat. We have always
Don't
had to
we?
take a back seat. It's
Reparations. We
right.
could do a study. I don't need a study.
Even
I
when we
don't need any
even when
study.
we had a black president, he did nothing.
Oh, see, that's what I thought you was talking about. I'm like,
No,
oh,
no,
she
no. That's
gotta
not,
be
no, I'm
talking.
talking about people who are running right
You were talking about,
now,
yeah. Well, as soon as you said, I'm like, oh,
who
she
who who are
sound like
saying they're, they support, African Americans, that they're all about black folks, and and some of their best
not the.
friends are black folks and all that kind of stuff. And you know it. I mean, I'm just saying, let's just, from black folks, if you're watching this, you know it. I'm just saying, you just know it. And
No, but
I know a lot of black, and I know a lot, and there's a saying, not all skin folk are
kinfolk or
kinfolk.
kinfolk.
Not all skin folk are kinfolk. So, and when you're talking to a black person that does not have your best interest at heart.
Hmm.
But I'm saying Dr. West has always, without a doubt, never had a doubt in my mind, when he talks about supporting reparations, when he talks about making sure that we're not like treated as second class citizens and have to take a back seat and an afterthought, you know, he's always there. And I'm just saying, there's nobody else.
Well, that's how you don't get on TV. Anytime you put black people, you make that your. Oh, you're not getting on TV. No, you might as well forget that another person. Why is he on TV? I'm like, you know why? Now, if he were throwing black people under the bus, oh, he'd be on television all the time. He'd be like Tim Scott. You see, nah, I must shut up. See, I'm trying. I'm trying. We're gonna move on to the next. No, I'm gonna move on to some comments. Um, Kevin says, if you ask me, any time is the right time. I agree. And Dr. West is not a convicted felon. Wow. Wow. Wow.
But I would just have to say, I'm not really there. There's so much. The whole, in my opinion, the whole thing that had to deal with Trump is just a big three-ring circus kind of thing, in order for Biden to win.
Yeah, because
But
people.
so even if Dr. West was a convicted felon, I'm just saying who he is. I mean, because there's a lot of people who've been in prison who are wonderful people. I really
People.
don't care about that. But and there's people who are in prison right now who need to be released. But so that's not an issue for me. I'm just saying, when you look at his whole life, his whole body of work, his commitment, his intelligence, his dedication, his sacrifice, this is this is the person. This is the president.
And here's what I'll say. I don't care if Dr. West had 15 children by 15. I don't care. As long as the relationships are consensual and he's not trapping people and trafficking, we good. I mean, it's some other
Right.
stuff. But I don't. I literally, I'm like, you elected a president who said, and I quote, "If you don't vote for me,
You ain't
and
black.
you ain't black." Make it make sense. But I'm supposed to get flack when I say I don't care if Dr. West has 15 children by 15 different women, which I literally don't care about. I mean, I know he doesn't have that many children, but I'm just saying, if you can criticize me on that, I'm gonna criticize you on yours. Okay, Parker, you just had to keep it petty. Jill Stein, I just joined the stream, and that's my guess that she's referring to. Is he right? Oh my gosh, Parker! Parker, take your victory lap
Mm,
because she said you right without mentioning people's names. She
yeah,
said it. See, I just dropped names. I don't even care. Like you ain't got like I'm just and this person. Okay, so Nelson says
exactly.
I'm not voting for Dr. Cornel West because he's a black person. I'm voting for him because he's the right person who happens to be black. Agree, agree, agree.
Yes,
And
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. But I also wanted to just make it clear that he's the only president that as a black person, I know and believe that he actually has our interests at heart. And
you know,
we're not going to have a backseat. We're not going to have to be an afterthought. It's not just rhetoric. It's not just talk. That's all I was saying. But you're absolutely right. I totally agree. He's the right person who happens to be black. But this is important.
and doesn't
We
throw black people under the bus.
Right. This is important. We as much as we have given and continue to give and sacrifice for this country, when, I mean, everybody else gets reparations except for black folks.
We need a study. Didn't you hear Bernie Sanders say?
That's right. But
Crazy shit.
all I'm saying
I'm putting myself on mute.
is that I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed to say we need to have somebody who's seriously, honestly, as a black woman, since you said I'm the first one that's been on this show, I'm telling you, this is one of the reasons why I'm like, absolutely, he's got my vote.
Yep. And see,
Absolutely.
I did good. Yeah, I put myself on mute because I was about to go. I was about ready to go. Okay, so Kevin says, thank you, Nelson. I am voting for Dr. West because he deserves my vote. He is the right person for the job at this time. But AOC said, with a time like this, it's not time to get crazy thoughts or some less, she said. I'm like, girl, Bob. Oh, shut up, Tracy. Okay, next one. We're going to move on to the next one. Okay, this one, I'm not going to say I agree. Well, no, I'll just say it because I'm not gonna. I don't agree nor disagree. So I always love to hear everybody's thoughts on this. Dr. West cannot be trusted to be president because he cannot make up his mind. He started out with the Movement for a White People's Party, and yes, that's what I'm gonna call them. I won't call them anything else. Um, a Movement for a White People's Party. Then he changed to the Green Party. Then he changed to Independent, and now he's forming the Justice for All Party.
I think that's a thinking man. I mean, that's what I see.
That's
He's
what
not
I see too.
he's
But
not,
I hear
he's
this
not
criticism more and more. I'm like, okay.
he's not afraid. You know, Kerr, he's not afraid to think and to move based on his conscience and what he believes and understands is right. After he got involved in these organizations, again, they might talk a good talk, they might sound good, and then you get in there and you find out it's not all that it was. And everybody has had that experience. Everybody who's watching or listening to this has had that experience where they've gotten into something, it seemed good, it sounded good, and then you get into it and you're like, oh, okay, this is not what they said it was. And but most people, they're too afraid to get up and leave, to walk away, to lay it down and go, nope, nope, not gonna do it. He's doing this for us, for the people. He's not doing it to appease whatever group or organization said, "Come work with us, be with us. We'll help you to be president." He's like, "I don't. I'd rather be with the people than be wrong."
Again, my guests always have better answers than I do. I won't even dignify this one because you said it. You said everything that needed to be said. When you realize something isn't working, i.e., people that vote Democrat or Republican, you walk away and you go somewhere else that lines up with your ideas. And if they don't line up, you walk away from that group. And if they
Right.
don't line up, you walk away from that group. And the fact that he had the courage to do it,
Right.
that just elevated him. As far as I'm
Exactly.
concerned, I'm like,
Too
oh,
too
okay.
too many of us stay in a situation because, "Oh, what will people say? Oh, well, I guess I just try to make the best of it." Or, we all of us have done that and regretted it. And it's just it and eventually, we leave after it's just too incredibly painful and things have gotten ruined. I'm talking about relationships, jobs, different organizations. It sounds good. They seem good when when they first did their presentation or rally or whatever, and talked a good talk, and then you get in there and you find out that's not what it is, and it takes a lot of courage and commitment to the people. He is so committed to doing what's right that he won't stay and do something wrong. How can you not admire somebody like that?
If he, I'm always okay. So we're gonna move on to the next one. We're going to move on to the next one. This one, I'm gonna be honest. I don't curse at all. I always ban it on my platform, but this one, I almost let it go. Both Anderson Cooper, um, and James Carville. I hope you know who I'm talking about. Um, have each gone on CNN and said this one. Dr. West is an embarrassment to democracy.
Wow, that's crazy. I guess honestly, since I haven't heard them, I don't know in what way they would
Oh, I might have to
say say
email you the
something.
whole link.
I don't know
I
what
mean,
they're
I'm summing up.
talking
Those were
about.
their exact words. Well,
Right.
no, that was Anderson Cooper. He did say no. Carville said embarrassment to democracy, and then um, Cooper said a different word. It wasn't embarrassment, but it was kind of like at the same. Yeah, that was the criticism.
I mean, all I can say is when you look at the history of um the candidates who are running for the Democratic Party and the Republican Party and the uh, you know and some of the other candidates, I'm just not sure how you can't say that you feel embarrassed.
No, he's an embarrassment
No,
to democracy.
no, the other ones. I'm saying they're an embarrassment
Oh yeah,
to
well,
democracy. I'm saying when you look at their history and what they've done and their track record, I'm saying how could you say this, that Dr. West is an embarrassment? He has done nothing but try to uphold the principles and values of democracy. But these other people are like clowns. Talking about an embarrassment?
no, they're not like clowns. They are clowns.
Yes.
And I don't even want to insult clowns like that. I'm like, wait a minute, because I'm like, they act
And
like
clowns
children.
have
I'm
had
like,
their
no, I don't want to call them children because I don't want to insult the children. It's like, If I call them something else, I'm insulting that group, and they don't deserve that. It's like, but you're right. I never thought about that. I never
Yeah.
thought about it that way.
They
Because I
have.
heard that one, I was like, no, they did not say that.
I mean, they just, they just like take a Sharpie and the Constitution and just scratch stuff out that they don't like, that doesn't serve them. They you know um pay money for people to be in positions and hold kangaroo courts and all kind of stuff, and put people into positions to be like media pundits, and then put people in jail who haven't committed any crimes but say what you don't like. How can you say that Dr. Cornel West is an embarrassment to democracy? This whole system is like, a three-ring circus. Compared, it's not upholding democracy at all. The only if we want democracy, then we need to use our vote to do what's right. That's the only thing that we
But
have.
If Trump gets elected, it won't be a 2028 election. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Whew. Okay, so we got some comments over here that I usually don't cut this close for comments, but they're so hilarious. I got it. Got it. So Parker says, I do wish he had been a little bit more suspicious of Nick Brana. Now, that I do agree with. Nick Brana, through before signing with the Movement for White People's Party. It's a reason why I call him that. How you gonna get Dr. Cornel West, who has fought for reparations, and you just said, "Oh no, black people don't need reparations"? Yeah, that's gonna work. How? Tell me how that works. It don't. But I'm gonna go back and read Parker's comment. I do wish he had been a little bit more suspicious of Nick Brana before signing with the Movement for White People's Party. I don't think he knew about the organization and have been doing over the past few years. Then Parker adds, Anderson Cooper and James Carville are out of touch elites. Parker's got a lot of comments in here. Anderson Cooper was told Nina Turner, we don't need a lecture 2 months ago when she was simply describing the horrific conditions on the people of Gaza that were going through. I saw that. It was like her against 5 other ones, and she literally destroyed
Wow.
them. I'm like, oh, yep, they did. I forgot about that one. Okay, this insanity is going around now. Yep. Only going to get worse as this election gets closer to November. I agree with that. And Anderson Cooper Nelson says only comes from money and has no right of speaking for regular hardworking people. I agree with that. And here is the next to last one. Oh, this one. This one is special. This one is I know the Democratic Party came up with this one. Dr. West is being influenced by Russia.
Well, that's just laughable. I mean, his history of his commitment to our country, to our our people, um, to the world, his it's so opposite of being, holding any kind of ideals or principles or motivations of Russia or anywhere else. That's just laughable.
It's it's really
And
laughable.
it's what people, and again, it's that fear mongering. It's selling the fear mongering, because there's so many people who, all you got to do is say Russia and they go, oh, so, that's what people use all the time. I mean, and it just shows that they don't have any real argument. That's the interesting thing. The things that you're saying, that people are saying, just prove that they don't have anything
Can't tell
about him
me,
to
yeah,
argue.
not one reason to vote for Joe Biden. He's not Donald Trump.
Right.
And then you talk to Republicans, they don't want Trump either. But they vote for him because he's not Joe Biden. Don't tell me your policies. Don't tell me any of that. Let's
Exactly.
just but let's put that over there. Let's go to Russia. Are you for real? Russia, the country that you still say MSDNC interfered in our elections, and literally this country is interfering in other countries' elections.
Right.
Make it
Right.
make sense.
Right.
Make it make sense. Um, 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 it just doesn't make sense. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I watch Savvy Sabs a lot, and she says, make it make sense.
Right.
People sit here and say, I had an elderly lady at church, bless her heart. I didn't, because you got to be careful with elder people. Either you're going to get that one that's going to tell you like it is and don't care about your feelings, or you're going to get that nice, sweet little lady. And of course, I got the nice little sweet lady, so I couldn't say what I really wanted to say. I just shook my head. The Republicans are racist. And I said, yes, ma'am, and so are the Democrats. That's
Right.
like the nicest thing. Like, I really held that like, who, Tracy, don't go. But people say that, and I'm like, they're not getting you closer to what you want.
I mean, Biden
You
Biden
want.
boasted Biden boasted about the crime bill. I mean, he boasted about being able
He
to
said he was
look,
for, what was his answer? He was forced to do it by black leaders. Really? So they forced you to say they'll have you in chains.
right.
They force you to say if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Take some accountability. You
Right.
signed it. At
Right.
least Bill Clinton fake apologized for it. It's like I shouldn't have signed it. I mean, it was a fake apology. Come on, yeah, it was a fake apology. But at least he said I shouldn't have signed it. But it's like, no, but what happened? I wrote it because it did. No, you wrote it. You sat and wrote it. You wrote a bill so racist, even Reagan was like, "Ooh, no, no, I can't do this. This is too racist."
And I know this I know I probably shouldn't talk about somebody who's cognitively impaired, but that whole thing about black kids and the hair on his skin or something,
Oh gosh, you're gonna make
that
me
was
throw
so
up.
creepy. That
That
was
is great.
so
Oh! But
creepy.
let Doctor. Okay, first of all, if Doctor West ever said something that stupid, oh,
Yeah.
I'm gone. That's one of them ones. I'm like, you know what? I ain't voting for you now with that mess coming out of your mouth. No, that
So
was
creepy.
creepy.
So creepy.
Ugh. They see
See?
now
Yeah.
you got that in my head. Oh, oh, they would rub the hairs on my lip. Ah, oh. Right now you got me thinking it. Oh.
They're so creepy. And then sniffing people, sniffing women and children, and
But
what's
Tara
the
Reid,
matter with
she's
them?
influenced by Russia too. She got investigated, but Joe Biden didn't. Make it make sense.
Right. No,
Any,
but I mean, there's pictures of him sniffing other people. I'm just saying, it's just weird.
it just don't make. Now I gotta get
I'm
this
so
question. The next one, I think this is the last one before I move into my last question. This is the last one of the silly list. Dr. West is running as president as a vanity project.
he doesn't have to do anything for his vanity. I mean, I just don't I've heard people say that, and it's just, I mean, you're putting your life at risk. I mean, I don't think people really well, I think that there are so many people, like, what was that TV show Donald Trump had,
The Apprentice.
The Apprentice? I mean, and Schwarzenegger and whatever. I mean, there are people who do this, and I mean, they're because we're so media driven. I mean, I think that there are people who go by what, thinking that they're going to get something, some kind of celebrity status from it. But the really interesting thing is that with all of the accomplishments that Dr. Cornel West has, this is the last thing he would need to do for his vanity, for his ego. He he stands head and shoulders above anybody. And the reason why, if they put him on a debate stage
He wiped
with
the floor
with
clean. Period.
everybody, and
Over.
I don't mean some people, I mean everybody. He would talk everyone in circles because they'd be all tied up because they don't have the depth or the breadth of understanding that he has, and he doesn't have to do anything else, but he's doing this for us.
Um, Again, my guests are always more professional than I am. They're kinder than I am. If he wanted to run as a vanity project, he would have ran as a Democrat.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
I
true.
said it, Chink Uger. I said what I said. How you gonna tell? You get to define it as a vanity project. Okay, so let's look at what it takes to be president. Your life is you have to have a group of people guarding your family, you and your family.
Right,
They take
right,
your cell phone away. They take your email away. You're now under Secret Service for the rest of your life.
right,
You're putting your spouse's uh, uh, life at danger. You're putting your children's life at danger. You only get paid $450,000 a year because we already know Dr. West does not take corporate bribes. So
right,
he's not taking special interest money.
right.
So he can make $450,000 by literally writing another book.
Mm.
Like he can just write a book and he can make $450,000. I think that's what the president gets paid by doing 6 lectures. So what is it like? If you don't want to vote for him, I don't know why. Because literally, look at his platform. Come up with something better.
And it's
That's all I'm asking.
and like you said, nobody criticizes his platform.
Nobody.
Nobody
Oh,
criticizes what he's doing.
I have not ran into one person that has read that platform and come out and said, "Well, I don't like this," and they're like, "Yeah, I agree with it."
Right,
Okay, then vote for him. That's all you gotta do. From agreeing to it, then vote
right.
for him.
But I think it's, again, I feel like we can't even, I think some people have a difficult time even conceiving that we can have a real democracy, that we can have a true democracy, that we can have freedom, that we can have equality. I don't think we're so used to living under a system that we can't trust, that we know are full of shysters and
Oh, they full of something.
crooks. We It's almost like we become comfortable with that. We're so used to it that when when someone when Dr. Cornel West comes on the stage, we just can't believe it. So we just get tongue tied. Well, yeah, well, I don't like this about him. Well, I can't believe it. Well, it's just not the right time. Well, they just can't. And I'm like, you've got every revolution has to start with commitment and belief.
Yep. And I've heard some more off the wall criticism. He wears the same thing. Okay, so does Trump. Um, his hair isn't combed. It looks fine to me. I mean,
Right.
I look like I just rolled out of bed. Like if you're gonna, like I said, if you're going to come up with criticisms, you got to do better. So we got the comment section. I'm telling y'all making me laugh today because y'all got some really good stuff. Okay, so Parker says this is a side note, But Tracy, I just wanted to say it was pretty cool. You got to interview Chase Oliver, who ended up becoming the Libertarian nominee for at their convention last week. I forgot their convention was last week. The clips from that convention, which I'm probably gonna go back and watch, were some of the best entertainment I've seen in a while. Yeah, it's a comedy fest. It's gold. Corn Pop Corn Pop was a bad dude. Oh, wow. 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 Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Corn Pop was a bad dude. Oh my goodness. Um, Kevin says just make it make sense. Sorry, you can't. You right. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Parker says, I mean, at the very least, he would have to have a book coming out this year if it was a vanity project. Cough, cough. Jake Uger, cough, cough. Thank you. Oh, Parker, you don't know
Absolutely.
what you just said. You said a whole word right there with that one.
Right.
But if he did, I would buy it. But I'm just saying he can make more money literally writing a book than being president.
Right.
Every other person is running on behalf of a party. Cornel West is in it, and it Cornel West is for and in
And
on behalf of the people. If I can read.
yeah. And that's the thing. And that's what people who argue can't they because they've never seen it before. Not really.
They're
Not
like
really for the
an
people.
honest politician.
Yeah.
What? And I love the fact that his campaign, he always says it. It's not a moment, it's a moment within a movement.
Right.
This is just the beginning. If you think his supporters are going to go anywhere, if the title of this show doesn't come true, you are so wrong.
That's why I said, a true revolution is about, it's about commitment, and continue you and just being relentless, and you do because because you believe it. You're doing the right
Mm.
thing. And that's what's supposed to be a democracy.
We got till November. I'll say it that way. Okay, so the last question is not any of the five, but I always, like here lately, have been giving people room to talk about what it is that they're directly doing to get Dr. West, one, on the ballot access, and two, to ultimately get him to his address being 1600 Pennsylvania Street.
That's a really good question. Well, I'm a part of a group in Ohio. We're organizing. I'm looking forward to Dr. West is supposed to be here in Ohio, not next weekend, but the following weekend. I'm very, very excited
What
and
city?
try to get Cincinnati. But there's a small community called Lincoln Heights. Um, in
No, because I live in Indianapolis. Cincinnati's not that far from me.
Okay, yeah, yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah,
So
email me the information because I'm like, well, wait a minute, Cincinnati and Indianapolis, or that's
no, it's not that far.
not a terrible drive at all.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I've shared. I'm very interested in also trying to do whatever I can to get to have to have him speak at as many different places as possible in our community. Um, I because the media is kind of blocking him out. You know what I mean? So we really have to get him in front of people, and people need to know, young people who have not, followed him, but need to get to know him. We, as much as possible, I think we need to continue to do that. When I talk to people about him and I said, he's running for president, they're like, no, I didn't know that. Like, yeah, because the media is just blocking him out, and because he's frightening. They're they're terrified.
I say they need to be scared. I
Yeah,
say they better be scared. That's what I say. You better be scared. because people are tired of this. I talk to people all the time. If I could just get them across that finish line, they're tired of our money. Although I believe in monetary theory personally, um, they're tired of seeing our money be allocated for more and more wars. The military's budget expanded, expanded, expanded.
Right.
Homelessness is at a all-time high. Is the media talking about that and what the candidates will do? No.
No.
They're just showing Trump being convicted on 34 felons of a case that would normally be a misdemeanor.
Because it was 34 pieces of paper. I mean, the way
Exactly.
they keep saying that, they keep saying like they make it sound like he did this big crime and then it turned around and did
It's
this
a
big crime.
misdemeanor. Like
It's
if
a
we did it, we
misdemeanor,
wouldn't
and
even be. Yeah, it's like
do you understand? It's
it.
34 pieces of paper.
Like yeah, I'm doing a whole separate show about that because I'm like y'all silly think this is gonna do it. It's not. You having an agenda. No, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what I want you to keep doing what you're doing. Don't you stop. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Cause I'm gonna keep on doing what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna play this commercial. I'm gonna let Parker's comment be the last one. He says, Tracy, you'll have to deal with potential Bengals fans, so be prepared yourself. But there's not a football game next week. We're not even. I don't even think are OTAs happening because San Francisco hasn't.
You
The
know what?
49ers, my team.
Haters gonna hate. Haters gonna hate. Whatever.
But yeah, Parker loves to get me, but no, there's no. I don't even think the Bengals are having their OTAs.
I don't think so.
I'm good. Okay, I'm good. Cause I want to get some of us to go there. Be like, yeah, we here. We not. But I do want to play our commercial from Indiana, and then we're gonna end this. Um, and here we go.
We need all the tired, poor, huddled masses of America who have had enough of the two-headed snake that has been our parties and our current and former president. Please sign up at cornelwest2024.com volunteer or scan the QR code to join the movement for a new choice. Join us on Mondays at 7:15 p.m. EST by scanning the QR code. Paid for by Hoosiers for Dr. Cornel West for president.
And I play that every week now.
I should have had my Cornel West T-shirt.
I
I'm
was, but
sorry
I
I didn't
didn't.
do
I'm
that.
like, I usually wear it, and I'm like, not today. I'm tired. I haven't done anything. I'm just like, I'm tired. I'm not going to do it.
But you
But
know, I buy gear. You know, I donate. I think every little anything we can do, anything we can do to continue to support this campaign. We, you know, I mean, if you believe in freedom, if you believe in democracy, whatever you can do, we have to just we have to continue. We have to be relentless. We have to stand up. Never back down. Just continue.
and people, y'all know we right. You know that when you elect somebody like Dr. West, or put him on the ballot because ballot access is first. But ultimately, when you elect somebody like Dr. West, he cannot be bossed. And you've had candidates before, or you have a candidate now that says, hey, if Medicare for all comes to my desk, I'm going to veto it because it costs too much. But it's A-OK giving millions. No, let me backtrack. Billions of dollars to both Ukraine and Israel for wars.
And for their health care.
That's right. Israel has free health care, but we don't. We're paying for their health care. And I'm not even saying they shouldn't have it. Health care is a human right.
Right.
But you're going to keep voting for that. You're going to keep voting for duopoly and then be like, well, why didn't it change? Until you vote different, you won't get different. So we're asking you to vote different. Go to cornelwest2024.com. Find out how you can volunteer. Sign up to volunteer. Give a donation. The campaign has not stopped me yet from doing this. If you can even spare $5, every dollar literally does count. You can read about the platform. You can read about Dr. Abdullah, who I didn't get into, but I'm going to try to do that my interviews going forward. And for those of you who love to laugh, Tuesday, June 18th, Hoosiers for Cornel West are sponsoring a virtual comedy show. Tickets are $25, but it goes to ballot access and those efforts. So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank my first Black female guest. Yeah, I don't know how big that is for me because I'm like, well, okay, it's good to talk to everybody. And it is. All my previous guests have been great. But this is special to me. I want to thank everybody that commented in the section. Remember to share this video. Share it, share it, share it, share it, share it. Like, if you watch later, you can comment. We're going to let Nelson have the last comment. Thank you, Tracy, and everyone here at Cornel West for president, because progressives never give up, never surrender. That is so true. Have a great evening, everybody. Remember, I will be on vacation, a staycation, because I have no money to go anywhere. But June 29th and July 6th, there will not be a show. Those 2 weeks, I'm saying, let me go to sleep. But every other week will be. So thank you all. Have a fantastic evening. Bye-bye.